The time it takes to learn how to safely ride a dirt bike really depends on what your goals are. For example, if you just want to ride a dirt bike for the first time and be able to start, stop, shift gears, turn around, you can do it in a day if you just hop on and try and figure it out yourself. Or if you learn from a good coach that can take you step by step through it, you can learn how to do it in just minutes actually, if you just have an open field or a small backyard. And then if you want to learn how to ride basic trails, so maybe it's just beginner single track trails or ATV off-road trails that are relatively flat and not super technical with big rocks or steep hills or roots. The time it takes to be able to do that, well, that greatly depends on how you approach it. You could be able to do that in a few weeks or a month if you're intentional about practicing the fundamentals, especially if you have someone showing you step by step how to form positive riding habits that give you the most confidence with the least amount of time possible. But if you're just a self-taught rider that's trying to figure it out on your own, which that's kind of what I did, it can take months or even a year or 2 years, especially if you're not riding very often, maybe once or twice a month. It takes a lot longer to build up that muscle memory, the confidence that you need to be able to stay comfortable on the trails. And your comfort and confidence is super important because when you're out riding in the open, there's nothing really to hit. But once you start getting in the woods or just a tight trail, it's a little bit more intimidating because there's so many more things to hit. You start looking at what you don't want to go to or hit, and you're more likely to do that because you're focusing on them. But when you have formed positive riding habits and the fundamentals of riding a dirt bike, you will have more confidence so that you won't focus on what not to do. You can just ride and not really think about it because you have built up this muscle memory. And if you're just trying to figure it out on your own, it can take years if you want to be able to come up to a new or more challenging trail. Maybe it's deep sand, maybe there's lots of roots and rocks, steep hills with lots of trees. It can take years to have the confidence to come up to that trail and say, I can do this, and actually go and do it without worrying about falling down every 5 minutes or bouncing off trees, or actually completing the whole trail loop. But when you have a step-by-step process of forming the positive riding habits, you will have control in any type of terrain or condition, whether it's deep sand or ruts or mud or hard packed clay or roots or rocks, because you know how to stay balanced on the bike, you know how to get traction, whether it's with the throttle or the brakes, and you just have an understanding of where the limits are of how fast you can go before your bike starts to slide out. So why are you more likely to make these mistakes if you're just a self-taught rider? Well, if you have a 15-year-old kid that's never driven a car before, would you feel confident just handing them the keys to your car and say, here you go for it? Well, I know I wouldn't, or at least I won't if they've never driven a car when my kids are 15 years old. No, what would you do? You'd want to be right there beside them before they even start driving. You'd want to show them how to start it, how to use the gas, the brakes, the turn signals, how much brake pressure to apply when coming up to a corner, especially if it's raining or snowing. You want to show them step by step, because there's little things that even though they may have been watching you all these years, they won't fully know or understand because they haven't experienced it for themselves. So when you're showing them step by step what to do or what not to do, they'll be much more likely to prevent those common mistakes that could get them in an accident or in the ditch right away. So why would it be any different for a dirt bike? Yes, you can figure it out on your own, but if you have someone that can show you the simple steps to form positive riding habits, you will be able to ride with confidence much quicker. And if this interests you, then I want you to check out this video on the 3 unexpected dirt bike riding tips for more control. Check that out and let me know. This is Kelly Fager from Motocross Hideout. Learn more, ride more, so that you can stay safe and have fun for many years to come.